Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.
Well, yesterday, good news filled the air when the Supreme Court said, okay, now local governments, you have gotten your full autonomy. But immediately I was, cheering up for the good news. The heat, of reality came back to my head when I saw a tweet from the newly appointed, caretaker chairman of one of the richest local governments in Nigeria, which is Obiakpor local government in Rivers State. And on that tweet, it said, I have recently appointed 100 special assistants for him to, work with him as the caretaker chairman. And it just came to me, split reality check, like, oh my God, who's going to check the excesses of this local government chairman? Good news, the LG autonomy is here, but hey, so many problems in our hands because who will check the excesses of this local government chairman? Time check, 6 minutes past 7. You're welcome to the newspaper review right here on iMpact Radio 102.1 FM. We are your urban lifestyle station where we make sure we give you every information that you need as you need them. My name is Uche Okori, and of course I would not be doing this alone.
Hi Uche, good morning.
Good morning to you. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. My name is Sarah Owusu-Ansah, and just as Uche rightly said, yesterday we were excited to see that the Supreme Court had given local governments full autonomy, but this has been reached with different mixed reactions.
Honestly, man.
James Ibori has come out to say that this judgment is an assault on true federalism, and I'm like, how so? Noting that this incident has been going on for over 2 decades.
Definitely.
And Serap has also given state governors a 7-day ultimatum to return funds to local government. I want to believe that we'll start to see things happen differently since the local government have been granted full autonomy.
But hey, like I said, when I saw the tweet of what's his name now, the really appointed caretaker chairman, Chijioke Ihuowo, and I was like, 100 assistants for just you as a local government chairman, so I get to say, okay, now you get your money directly from the federal government. Now you are in charge of everything. How are we so sure you're not going to be worse than the governors? How are we so sure you won't abuse this power? The only positive I think I can pick from this is the fact that, hey, I know where the local council is, and I can directly go meet my local government chairman and say, hey, this are the things that are supposed to be done. But hey, this is Nigeria. Are we going to start seeing so much escorts and so much, packaging?
How many local government chairmen even stay in their local government?
That is the point I'm even trying to make. That's the reality check that hits me immediately.
A lot of them don't stay there, so they can't even relate to the needs of the people there, and there's a need for us to have people that will be gatekeepers that can ensure checks and balances, because sometimes when you get what you want, you start to abuse it. So if we don't have people that will serve as gatekeepers to ensure checks and balances, we'll come back to have this conversation a few months or a few years after.
Well, it's really, really necessary for we to have gatekeepers, in as much as this autonomy thingy is something that is one thing we've been waiting for a very, very long time, because let's be honest, you can't have a developed society from the grassroots if the local governments do not have powers of their own to run the local government as they know best. They are the ones that see this local government. That is, if these chairmen stay in their local government, and actually do their job. Well, you're still listening to the newspaper review on iMpact Radio 102.1 FM. And remember, you can be part of this conversation as simple as ABC, only if you follow us on our social media handles at X, iMpact 1021 FM, Facebook, iMpact Radio 102.1 FM, on Instagram at iMpact 1021 FM, TikTok at iMpact 1021 FM, and of course, you can reach us via WhatsApp or your regular text message, only if you do it on this number 0907 224 5018, or call us up. Let's talk. Let us feel your pulse on 0700 1021 1021. And just in case you want to watch us live, yes, we are live on YouTube at iImpact 102.1 FM. It is the newspaper review. Let's go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll go into the papers in full.
Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.
Put a touch of class and finesse on your brand by advertising with us at High Impact 1021 FM. For more information, call
0706 393 5694, 0915 958 1881, or 0902 745 3931.
Follow us on our social media platforms at High Impact 1021 FM. Our deals are hotter than the weather itself.
Our deals are hotter than the weather itself.
Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.
Welcome back to the newspaper review on High Impact 102.1 FM, and I've still got Uche here with me in the studio. And do not forget, you can be a part of the conversation. Do well to call us on 0700-1021-1021. You can send a WhatsApp message to 0907-224-5018. We delve straight into the papers this morning. We kick off with the Punch newspaper, and it greets us with the major headline that is trending on all the papers: local government funds. Federal government floors governors as Supreme Court outlaws caretaker ESCO and joint account. Two major riders to that story: preventing democratically elected administration in local government unconstitutional. This is from the Apex Court. Tinubu, NLC, Norgay, others hail judgment as ex-Ogun local government chair Lord's President. That's on page 2. Read.
Amazing. I think it's something we will see on all the major dailies today. Absolutely. Because it's huge news. It's what we started with, because it's the main story of of today. And I think one important thing I want to talk about right now, which we didn't mention from the beginning of the show, is the caretaker chairman thingy now. Because now, since it has been expelled, we have to have proper elections for local governments. You can't just, a governor comes in and say, okay, I am appointing 22 local caretaker chairmen who are going to be. It just simply means these people are not elected. It simply means these people will, at the end of the day, probably show some loyalty to the government. Not as if the governor and the local government chairmen are not supposed to work in uniformity or hand in hand. But it doesn't mean like one person will be like a slave to the other. Because once you are elected now as a local government chairman, it means now you have a duty to serve the people who fixed you in there. Your primary assignment now becomes the people and not just the wish of the governor. So the fact that the Supreme Court case actually also focused on the caretaker chairman issue we've been facing for years and years to come. Man, it's good news for our democracy.
Absolutely. Another interesting conversation on the front page of the Punch newspaper has to do with the minimum wage, where President Tinubu and Labour talks adjourned till next week. I saw this story yesterday where the leadership of the NLC and the TUC, Joe Ajero and Festus Osifo, met with the president, and they are insisting on 250,000 naira as minimum wage, and that has led to the meeting being adjourned until next week. And it's looking as though the federal government is standing on their grounds. Let's not forget the fact that state governors also came out to say they cannot pay anything above 60,000 naira, but Labour is still insisting, okay, 250,000 naira, and this is being dragged for over a month now.
Well, I think it's something that will continue to be dragged, because if Labour is adamant on 250,000, it will be nearly impossible to meet that, because of we're seeing the economy. What are we producing? What are we doing? How can we actually, fund this budget to meet up to that capacity. But I don't think it's something that can't be done. I think it's something that if we work towards it, we can achieve it. But the question is, before then, can they really meet halfway? Because 65,000 naira can't even cut it. Let's be honest.
Honestly, the reality is federal government is saying, state governors are saying they cannot meet up with this. But every day we're hearing expenses.
Huge expenses.
Now
yes.
they opened a new Ministry of Livestock. It's going to take money. They're going to appoint people into that ministry.
Yes.
We're talking about renovations. We're talking about private jets.
True.
We're talking about allowances,
Yeah.
salaries of those at the helm of affairs is not being slashed. All of these things are coming up every day. And you want to explain to the Nigerian that has not been able to afford Gary that they cannot
That's
afford
250. Well, that's why I say it's something that is possible if they really want to work towards it. It simply means that they would have to, make sure that lots of expenses will be cut. Even at the same time, much things needs to happen in our economy. So many things needs to happen that needs to make sure that this particular amount is feasible. Because at the end of the day, we need to understand that it's all about the Nigerian people. It's all about what will make us better.
Absolutely. Moving on to some other stories on the papers this morning. Federal government and IOCs agree on crude supply to Dangote and local refineries. Federal government and IOCs agree on crude supply to Dangote and local refineries. That's on page 27. Public officials received 721 billion naira bribe in 2023. That's according to an NBS report. This is quite appalling. 721 billion naira bribe in 2023 alone.
Well, I think every time we get to see these kind of stories about bribes here and there, this amount was recuperated, this amount is what we have lost due to. Only question I ask myself, where are the consequences of all these things that you're telling me? You can't just keep telling us that money is missing. No one is going to jail. It means much more money will be missing.
Because they know that at the end of the day, nothing is going to
will happen.
And then we start to see them fainting when they are being questioned.
Oh, shots
about money that
you
is
just threw
missing.
shots just now. Yeah, people fainted actually.
It's so easy
People
to faint
fainted.
these days.
Yes, like we heard room at one time. One of the worst one we heard was it was swallowed by snake.
I still saw one
it's
yesterday.
it's
I'm trying
crazy.
to remember the exact story. He was being questioned and he fainted.
For goodness sake, it's appalling at this age and time. We try to do things that we think it's smart, but at the end of the day, after doing it, you just look at as like you're ridiculing yourself in front of the world
because they know nothing is going to be done at the end of the day. They're going to get away with it.
It only goes to show one thing and one thing only: the trust that the outside community will have for the Nigerian system. It only goes to show that crimes are not being punished the way they deserve to be punished. Yes, we get to see it's just like a story of that has been happening forever. Let me use the African China song. Poor man steal Maggie, his face will be shown on TV, but rich man steals,
Nothing.
everybody celebrates.
Right. But let's move on very quickly. Still on the front page of the Punch newspaper, 33 billion naira fraud. Ex-power minister collapses. This is the story I was just talking about.
Oh, wow.
Actually, 33 billion naira fraud. Ex-power minister collapses before trial, remanded in prison. That's on page 7.
Well, at least it's been remanded in prison. What I really think we need to start seeing conviction. People need to start going to jail. We need to start, refunding money from account. The other day, it was yesterday on the newspaper headlines where we heard one saying he needs more time to return looted funds.
Yeah.
So really, people need to start going to jail. There needs to be, we can't overemphasize on this statement. Consequences of action is the only thing that can lead to detriment of people repeating the same thing.
Absolutely right. But still on the paper, on page 29, we have the story that says National Assembly decries unlawful detention of journalists. National Assembly decries unlawful detention of journalists. That's on page 39. Some other stories here. UK varsity reviews fees for Nigerian students facing expulsion. That's on page 7. Lagos Mara operator hangs self over tricycle seizure. This is so sad. This is so sad.
Oh, this particular story, well, this is really sad. I really have not really looked deep into that story, but I'm starting to think, I suspect that I actually saw this particular person which that it happened to, because this actually was close to my vicinity. I guess I'm not 100% certain, because going back home after the newspaper review yesterday, just before getting home, close to the the station where the Federal Road Safety and a particular estate, and we saw a young man, hanged himself. He just took his own life. I'm not sure it's related to this story, because I've not looked at this story, but it was really sad scene for me. Like, I've never seen it physically in my life.
That must have been very disturbing.
I've never seen it physically in my life. I was just, I only get to see it on phones and on TV, but this time I saw it with my own eyes, and I couldn't just imagine what he must have gone through before that last moment. And may God rest his soul.
Amen. May God rest his soul. And lastly, on the Punch newspaper, PDP alleges contempt as Aiyedatiwa appoints council caretakers. That's on page 40 of the Punch newspaper. But we have a message here. Let's take this very quickly before we take the next paper. This is Nnamdi Oye from Ogba, and he says, still on new minimum wage negotiation between NLC and federal government, it is only the new minimum wage that can match this continuously hyperinflation of foodstuffs, healthcare, housing, and others, is what NLC and TUC is asking for. This should be between 150,000 naira to 250,000 naira per month, and nothing less in this era of high cost of living in Nigeria, where an average individual of this country, whether you're a public or private civil servant, artisans, self-employed or businessman, you must have millions of naira before you can achieve anything meaningful in this nation, either to build or buy a good housing unit, good health care, especially surgery and drugs in any hospital, to travel abroad to see your family, even to start a small-scale business. You must spend millions of naira due to high exchange rate of the naira to a dollar, which causes the spiraling inflation in this country. Very, very true. Very true.
Well, that's the much you can take on the Punch, yes?
Yes, that's all we can take on the Punch newspaper this morning.
Well, moving on from the Punch newspaper straight to the Daily Trust, and it leads with the same big one which almost all the papers will be leading with. Supreme Court verdict: local councils must now account for own actions. That's according to President Tinubu. It leads with his order to riders. It says, also amend constitution to get INEC conduct LG polls. Ex-governor. All institutions must be respected, says Professor Yadudu, and governors would review decision. That's according to Soludo. Governors will review. I know definitely there's going to be a backlash from governors, because it's not easy to let go. It's not easy to let. It's a situation whereby you're letting go of a power you possess, because the moment they have direct the money coming to them directly, the question is, why do they need you as the governor?
Why?
Do you understand? So I could understand why the pushback from the governors, and why this is, I believe this is going to be a fight we're going to see for a long time to come. I don't think this is the end of the story, but the beautiful thing is the Apex Court has made a decision, and that's the decision that we all will follow. Yes, definitely. So just above that big one there, we see below the nameplate, Akpabio Lawan clash over change to Senate plenary time. You want to know what our time is and what time it's going to be? Page 18 has that story. Okay, from beside that one, you see Governor Aliyu assents to law stripping Sultan of power to appoint district heads. Page 4 has that story for you. And 250,000 minimum wage unrealistic, Tinubu tells Labour. Well, like I said, federal government are standing their guns, and I guess the NLC are also standing their guns. And it's fair to say, just like our last message from Nnamdi said, at least the minimum. Was that Nnamdi Oye? I hope
Nnamdi Oye.
Okay, Nnamdi Oye. So, like he said, I also agree with what he says. It might not be 250,000, but it shouldn't be less than 150,000 if we want to really honestly say we want to meet up with the current realities we are facing. And just we have a very big picture on the Daily Trust. If you want to see what the picture is, you need to go get the Daily Trust. And beside that picture, the ex-power minister Maman remanded in correctional center.
It's the correctional center.
Yeah, the one who fainted. Yeah, he says the correctional center. Well, it is a correctional center. You need to be rehabilitated so that you can know how to behave in society next time. Well, below that story there, we see Kenya's president dismisses almost entire cabinet. Well, the power of the Kenyan youth.
Yes, I saw that yesterday, and I was like, okay, this is something.
Did he give you a sign, like a spirit of say, oh, okay, I think I can do something?
No.
Oh, I thought you were inspired or something.
Maybe not in Nigeria.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, just below that, court refuses bench warrants against Ganduje, orders trial in absentia. Well, I really do not know what to say about that story. But in case you want to hear, find out more about that story, because hey, why would you want, anyways, why would he want to appear in court? Why should he? Okay, just go to page 6. Go to page 6 and you get all the details that you need when it comes to that story. And hey, that's the much we want to take on the Daily Trust this morning.
Very quickly, we take a look at the Guardian newspaper, and it also has this major story: autonomy while local governments have not escaped powerful clubs of governors. That's a page 6 read. You can get details. You can see Tinubu, Akpabio, and Fagbemi, the Attorney General of the Federation there. Arrested vessels cost Navy $10,000 daily in maintenance. That's also on page 3. CBN Governor Cardoso links inflation to failed 10 trillion naira intervention funds. CBN overdraft. That's also on business page 15. Nigerians' confidence in anti-graft war dwindling. You want to read that up on page 7. Moving on from that, minimum wage, Tinubu, Labour leaders, parley inconclusive to continue next week. That's on page 6. Graft charges, Ganduje, wife, and others to face trial in October. We'll see what comes out of that. And lastly, on the Guardian newspaper, filthy abattoirs on hygienic meat processing spike their health concern. That's on big story pages 4 and 5 of the Guardian newspaper this morning.
Well, from Guardian newspaper, we move to the Vanguard, which is the last paper for this morning. And the Vanguard is leading with something entirely different. It says, executive order, drug makers seek clear timeline, stable naira for 70% production. Drug makers seek clear timeline and stable naira for 70% production. And it has these riders following it. Maintain non-implementation, hampering COIS, placing order on intimidation of or importation of raw materials and others. It says, say unless naira value was fixed, local drug manufacturing a mirage. This is one story we can't keep talking about, and always there's always going to be a problem anytime we talk about it, because we need to be producing. We need to be producing, because our local pharmacy needs to produce up to minimal level where it can actually help our own people, where drugs can be cheaper. You don't want to fall sick this period. I know, I'm telling you.
Honestly, I know someone that went to the pharmacy yesterday just for fever and all of that, and spent about 9,000 naira.
Talk to me. I'm telling you, I know. I've been under the weather for like this week, and I know what has happened. So I'm telling you, free of charge, do anything you can not to fall sick this period. Go play sports, run, just be healthy. Make sure you just be healthy. That's all I can say to you at this point. Be healthy. Well, we have more stories on the Vanguard newspaper, still on the Supreme Court verdict on LG autonomy. We have taken judgment in good faith. That's according to Governor Soludo and Otu. Governor Otu, you want to see more about that? look at page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. Just below that story, we see this one: alleged 33 billion naira fraud. Ex-power minister Maman slumps in court before trial. That always makes you laugh. Well, above the nameplate on this particular one, we have to look at this one. Edo 2024. Obaseki inaugurates 20-man transition committee. Yes, there will be an election in Edo State come September. I can't picture my hand now on that one, but there will be an election coming very soon, and it is hot in Edo State. The PDP are still in court to say, hey, Igodaso is our man, and the court say, hey, you guys didn't have an election that was meant to be have the way it was meant to be, because the delegates which were appointed or elected were not even participants of your primary election. So hey, that is still a huge tussle in Edo State. And also inflation, we are suffering for ways and means loan, that is according to the CBN Governor Cardoso. You want to learn more about that story, go look at page 20 of the Vanguard newspaper. What else much we'll take on the Vanguard newspaper? Let's go on a short break right now, and when we come back, we will be speaking to an in-house analyst. And remember, you can be part of the conversation. You can send us a WhatsApp message on 0907 224 5018, or you can call us up in the studio so we can talk to you and you can tell us how everything is on 0700 1021 1021. Don't go nowhere. The newspaper review will be back.
Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.
Do you know bad production can kill a great content idea?
Do you want to have a photo shoot, audio production, or do you need a professional voiceover artist?
Do you simply want unmatched cinematography, video production, or just event coverage, such as weddings, birthdays, or burials?
Or do you need a space for meetings or conferences? All these are possible with High Impact Studios. Don't bring down your creativity, let's help you take it high.
And out of this world with our state-of-the-art equipment and first-class studio space.
We give you the quality you deserve at the best rate.
For more details, call 0706 393 5694 or 0915 958 1881. High Impact Studios, the future.
When they say, let someone shout hallelujah, yours will be the loudest.
Get ready for a power-packed encounter. We are thrilled to announce the upcoming visit of our esteemed General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor E.A. Adeboye, and our mother in Israel, Pastor Mrs. Folu Adeboye, to RCCG Region 31 Headquarters, Overcomers Assembly. Join us this Sunday for a special service as we welcome our dear parents, renowned for their inspiring teachings and miraculous ministries. Theme: Total Perfection. Date: this Sunday, 14th of July 2024. Time is 8 a.m. Venue: 1A Redemption Close, Unity Bus Stop, Egbeda Idimu Road, Lagos State. Don't miss this rare opportunity to be blessed and uplifted. Host: Pastor and Pastor Mrs. J.A. Adeyokuno, the pastor in charge of Region 31, the Anointed Family. Don't come alone. Invite as many as you can. Come with great expectations. See you there.
Let someone shout hallelujah.
Put a touch of class and finesse on your brand by advertising with us at High Impact 1021 FM. For more information,
Call 0706 393 5694, 0915 958 1881, or 0902 745 3931.
follow us on our social media platforms at High Impact 1021 FM. Our deals are hotter than the weather itself.
Our deals are hotter than the weather itself.
Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.
Welcome welcome back. You're still listening to the newspaper review on High Impact 102.1 FM. Do not forget you can keep your messages coming in 0907-224-5018. And right now we have Dr. Adedayo Kayode, a political technocrat, who joins us to discuss some of the stories on the papers this morning. Good morning, Dr. Kayode. Thank you for joining us on the program. Are you there, Dr. Kayode?
Yes, good morning. It seems you are too far from the microphone.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you faintly.
Okay. Good morning, Dr. Kayode. Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, good morning. I'm hearing you now, loud and clear.
All
How
right.
are you?
Very well, thank you. I have Uche here with me in the studio.
Good morning, sir.
How are you today doing, brother?
I'm fine,
thank
God
you.
It's
Friday.
I'm telling you, thank God it's Friday. I hope you're having a fine Friday morning so far.
Sure. I give glory to the Almighty Creator.
Absolutely. Dr. Kayode, let's delve straight into the business of the day with the most trending story. Yesterday, we got the update about Supreme Court granting local governments full autonomy. First off, let's get your reaction to that update.
Yes, between you and me, it's a very, very good omen to national development and respite, a great respite to the people towards envisaging, I'm using that word, envisaging, dividends of democracy. How do I mean? Politics is local. Development is also local. And anything about nation building is also, they are also local. Now, if you don't empower local governments, how will you be able to realize all of this? Somebody like me in Ifakojai, do you expect me? Which one is better for me? Is it to be going to my local government within Ifakojai or to be going to Alausa in Ikeja? Again, to what extent will somebody like Sanwo-Olu be conversant with the nooks and crannies of Ifakojai, unlike when we have a duly elected executive chairman for that my local government? So these are many are the issues that make me to be very happy when Supreme Court gave his ruling yesterday.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. Okay, sir. That is a beautiful. We all love the decision of the Supreme Court, and we felt like this is something huge when it comes to Nigerians' democracy. And like you said, this will only be good, and this will only be splendid news if it's a duly elected local government chairman who actually wants to work for the people. And how then do we check the excesses of this chairman? Because now we know, when the money comes directly to them, they are in charge. They are the overall, they are the god of their local government at this time. They do not need the governors as much as they would if the money was coming from the state governors. How then would we check the excesses of these people now? Because I say this because...
Yes, have you forgotten? Have you forgotten that the administration of the local government is beyond the executive chairman?
True.
We also have the legislators, the councillors. They are known as councillors at the local government. So they are all there to check the excesses of the executive chairman.
True.
We also have individual and other interest groups there that will also serve as a watchdog. Okay, let us look at the state.
Okay.
How are the excesses of the state governors being curbed in the past until now? When you go to presidency, the same question. So what applies there also comes down to the local government. Because there are 3 tiers of government. 3 tiers. The federal, the state, and the local government. So everything that happens at the federal also happens at the state. So also at the local government. But with different level of engagement. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So definitely, it should be cut, just as others are being cut. The only thing now, the only addition here is that people will now have direct access to their local leaders in terms of coming up with those that they know within themselves that can lead them to wherever they want to get to.
All right, Dr. Kayode, you know.
Most importantly,
right,
that there won't be anything like starting them with funding. I mean, funding will be available now for local government development.
Very true. You know, but this judgment met a lot of reactions. A former governor of Delta State, in person of James Ibori, faulted the judgment, describing it as an assault on true federalism, saying that it is constitutionally right for state and local governments to have joint accounts. And he also stated that the Supreme Court had dealt a severe setback on the principle of federalism as defined by the 1999 Constitution. I'd like to get your thoughts on James Ibori's perspective this morning.
Hello?
Are you there, Dr. Kayode? Did you get my question?
Yes, I'm there.
All right. I was saying that James Ibori, a former governor of Delta State, has said this judgment by the Supreme Court is an assault on true federalism, saying that it is constitutionally right for state and local governments to have a joint account, and that the federal government had no right to interfere with the administration of local government under any guise whatsoever. I would like to get your perspective on this position.
Yes, I read Ibori's comment yesterday when he was trying to talk about true federalism vis-a-vis states comprising of states comprises or states are the only segments within a federation. Also mentioning the joint account that the Constitution stipulated. But my question to Ibori is this: when you're talking about federalism, what and what does it entail? Yes, we have states coming together to form a federation. But he has forgotten that there is no state again that can stand on its own without the locals. Within any state, you have the locals. And that is why in areas where democracy are being practiced and federal democracy is being practiced the way it's supposed to be, you have states. As well as within the states, you have the metropolis.
Metropolis, yeah.
Yes. Go to Maryland in America. Is a state. But you see, you have metropolis. Virginia. Even Washington has its own divisions. So what are you talking about here? Again, he has forgotten that even in the past, with that joint account he was talking about, him as a governor, how did he manage that account?
True.
As a former governor, when he was in the saddle of that state, how did he manage that account? Are you now saying that even when something is the constitution and it's not working, it cannot be changed? It cannot be looked at? He has forgotten that when that constitution was being made, those people, the white people that sat down there, had some kind of information which now made them to come up with such a section within the constitution. But the situation has changed. The mechanism has changed. The circumstances have changed. Governors have shown that, listen, you are under me, and as well, you are there at my mercy. And that's why they have not been allowed elected local government chairman to be there, rather putting their cronies there
as caretakers.
I can remember what happened between one particular local government chairperson in Ekiti and the governor, and the particular governor, alleging that she was made to sign what she was not given. She was made to sign a bigger amount to a smaller amount that she was being given. And if she should refuse to do that, she will be removed and another person will be there. But now we are now saying, listen, we are going to cancel this because national development is local. You cannot sit down in Abuja or in Alausa and be deciding what happens in Badagry or what happens in Efe. Localize it. Localize it.
That's so true.
So people can feel it.
That's so true. Yeah, we localize it, and I hear you when you say you can't sit down in Abuja and know what's happening in the local government. But we still even see some of these local government chairmen who don't even stay in their local government. Some of them want to go live in the eyebrow society and all. So how then would we, make sure this does not happen with these particular ones now that they have the freedom of the money they want?
Such are happening. Because you see the governors bringing in a caretaker person who lives in probably Dolphin Estate and then come and be the chairman of Badagry local government. How do you expect such a person to relocate immediately? You bring in somebody that is living in somewhere like Ajagbadi to come and be the caretaker chairman of Surulere local government. How do you think that person will relocate immediately? But now, people are now to elect their own executive chairman by themselves. They will elect those that live among them. Those that live within them. And those that speak the same language with them. So, if somebody, for instance, in Ifakojayi, is living at Birimi area, or living at Abule Egba area, okay, is being elected as the executive chairman, if really such a person will still retain his or her residence. Will still retain his or her residence. Because he knows that people will be monitoring him or her. And because he has grown there over years, that's where he has his friends. That's where he has his cohorts. That's where his family is. So how do you expect such a person? I mean, it is not expected that such a person will move out of the local government.
Right.
I mean, it's just like you are now telling me that Sanwo-Olu we now leave Lagos and go and be living in Abuja or go and be living in Port Harcourt. No, it can't be possible because he has been living his life in Lagos.
Okay.
All right.
Look at what's his name? Former governor of Lagos State, Ambode.
Ambode.
He's still living within Lagos. He's still living within Lagos. Except when he moves out, when he travels out for other businesses.
Okay. I get you on that. Okay. You're about to say something, yeah?
Yeah, I was just going to, because we have a couple of messages here that we need to take
before we get to those messages, why not we just, conclude on this particular big story on the minimum wage so that we can get to...
In about 2 minutes, Dr. Kayode.
We can get to round up because now we yes, we're happy about the news of the local government autonomy, but we not also forget that the minimum wage is still big in the news, and let's, wrap up on it as fast as we can. The federal government are saying 250,000 is unrealistic. Do you think it's unrealistic, or do you think it really can be done?
You see, the question is this: the two of them, the federal government and Labour, what are the indices being used to arrive at the two figures the two of them are placing on the table? What are the indices? That has been my old bait in all of these things. That's number one. Number two, are there no other ways in which the living standard of the people can be increased without necessarily increasing wages? Because before now, workers have been living, especially those of them that have been paid, on I think 30,000 naira minimum wage.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what are the things that has now washed away the real income of that 30,000 naira? What are the things that has reduced the value of that 30,000 naira? What are the factors that is now making people, despite they have not been saying that in the past, with that 30,000 naira, pay a big bow? What are the factors? So why don't you look at all these factors as variables and address them? So that at the end of the day, the addition to that 30,000 naira might not even be more than 20,000 naira.
Okay.
I mean, these are issues. It's a pity that those in government, even though they are exposed, educated, but their policies are just being tachyocratic.
Okay, so I want to say a very big thank you. I think that would be a perfect place to to put a point on this particular topic for today. I want to say a very big thank you, sir, for being a part of the program today, for sharing your knowledge on the top stories that we are talking about today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kayode.
Yes, it's my pleasure being with you this morning. Please do enjoy your weekend.
And you too.
And you too, sir.
And when you see something, say something.
Absolutely. Thank you
so much.
Bye-bye.
Well, we've been speaking to Dr. Kayode, and he has, shared his insights on the things that he feels that will help Nigeria become better. Let's face the issues. Let's face the things that are making us request for more money, and maybe, and just maybe, we have a better society. We have a couple of messages from our listeners who, shared their thoughts on what's happening. You want to take the first one?
Okay, yeah, this one says, good morning, High Impact Radio. The judgment of the Supreme Court on local government autonomy is a good one, but the issue here is implementation. The federal government of Nigeria, through their selfish leaders, are always adamant in implementing policies that are not beneficial to them. Most of the local government chairmen we are having our errand boys and political supporters of the governors who are there in form of compensation. The ball is now in the court of all citizens to monitor these local government administration and ensure accountability of every penny allocated to their local government, and take the bull by the horns to impeach any local government chairman that did not comply with the court proceedings. On minimum wage, it is quite unfortunate that Nigerian leaders are taking the labor force and its poor masses for granted. People are already losing confidence in labor and the government. On insecurity, in Benue State, herdsmen are demanding 20 million naira to allow farmers have access to their farm. In Borno State, we have over 8,500 repentant Boko Haram trained, empowered, and incorporated back to the society. What a country. Our military have lost their lives in the course of bringing these bandits to book. The widows and the children of the dead heroes are suffering without compensation and empowerment. The bandits that are supposed to die by hanging and life imprisonment to serve as example to others are now enjoying life, while the family of the fallen heroes are suffering. Corrupt leaders collapsing during probe is another new corrupt movie strategy in Nigeria. What a comedian country. This okay, I think there's no name here. We don't have your name here.
Okay, he said
quite
so
a
much.
Mouthful.
Yeah, he said so much. You should know he was typing all of his heart out while sending this message, and he just skipped his name. But hey, we hear you. We feel you too. And we also have this other message. This one is coming from Joseph Eyo from Lambe, and it says, "Good morning to you." Oh, that was Amodu John, by the way. His name is Amodu John. He has sent in his name. Good morning to you as well, Joseph. And it says, hail the Supreme Court over its landmark judgment on fiscal autonomy for the local government. Let's understand that if the process by which chairmen of those councils emerge is not free, fair, transparent, devoid of political underpinning and godfatherism, the judgment would mean very little or nothing. Well, and it's spot on. The fact that, yes, it is a beautiful decision by the Supreme Court, but it also, the people who are going to be there has to be people that were duly elected, not people who forced themselves on the people or who have stolen the people's mandate. So that alone is the only way we're going to enjoy the dividends of democracy. That alone is the only way we're going to enjoy the fact that, yes, local government autonomy exists now in Nigeria. Well, this is a very fine place for us to say our very goodbyes to you today on this beautiful Friday morning on the newspaper review. My name is Uche Okorie. Have yourself a lovely, lovely weekend. Till I come your way again on Monday. It is bye-bye for now.
And do not forget to follow us across our social media platforms at High Impact 102.1 FM. I am Sarah Uzo, and have yourself a fantastic weekend. Bye-bye.
Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.
Put a touch of class and finesse on your brand by advertising with us at High Impact 1021 FM. For more information, call
0706 393 5694, 0915 958 1881, or 0902 745 3931.
Follow us on our social media platforms at High Impact 1021 FM. Our deals are hotter than the weather itself.
Our deals are hotter than the weather itself.
Hey, cash flash time.
Now money time.
If you not play,
now you lose.
But if you not come win today,
you fit win tomorrow.
Yes, so this na high cash flash where you fit win a wolf money bracket.